Dice Tower Tonight, episode 111.
PAX facts.
Ah. Welcome to Dice Tower Tonight, a video cast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them. On tonight's show, Crystal and I reminisce about our journey to Philadelphia. Also, Crystal has a game for me in the chat to play. I have a tour of the nearly complete game room, and we answer questions from our audience live. I'm Eric Summerer, and joining me now, the Spritzy the hairstylist to my Smothers the butler, it's Crystal Dax.
Oh, I get that reference, even though I'm guessing almost no one else will.
Probably not. They are no Colonel Mustard and Miss Scarlet. No, not at all.
No, not at all. That one's clever, and don't worry, chat. We'll loop you in on what that means here in just a little bit.
Good. Well, Crystal, it has been, folks at home, thank you for joining us for this show. Ordinarily, Crystal and I sort of connect about 20 minutes before the show just to make sure everything is good and raring to go and sort of run through what we're going to do. That was not the case this evening, as is just the holiday period of time. I was at my in-laws. My mother-in-law's birthday is today. And so we traveled down there to have a nice dinner with her, and Stephanie baked a cake and frosted it today, and she had to go to a dentist appointment, and so I was in charge of getting me and the kids and the cake down to my mother-in-law's house. And I got the kids, and I got us down there, and I left the cake here.
Oh no!
So upstairs there is a fully frosted cake for my mother-in-law. Steph and I drove home in different cars, which is probably best. But I was stuck in traffic on the way back. And so I'm texting Crystal like, don't panic, I'll be there. And I got in with how much, Crystal? Like 2 minutes, 3 minutes to spare?
No, you had like a whole 5 minutes, I think.
At least.
It was good. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So yes, that's my holiday intensity. How are you doing, Crystal?
I'm doing great, and thank you, Bettina, in the chat for the belated birthday wishes. My birthday was 5 days ago. I am 37 now, and it doesn't feel any different than 36. But yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, my birthday was the 17th. And while I am sad that your mother-in-law did not get her cake, I hope that dinner was lovely for you all, Eric.
It was. She has forgiven me, except my wife and sister-in-law are going to give me a hard time about it forever.
I mean,
Ever.
that's what family's good for, right? It's to never let you live down those types of moments. And who knows, maybe I'll be making my own memories like that, because tomorrow I'm flying to Missouri to visit my family for Christmas. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, certainly safe travels to you. I do have some news to share, or at least a tour to take everyone on today. It's been a very eventful few weeks since the last time we spoke. Our last episode was what, the beginning of December 1st.
Yeah.
And since then, my game room table has arrived. My Rathskellar's delivery got here, and as promised, I have prepared a video walkthrough of the game room. And Crystal, you haven't seen this because, once again, I was late getting ready for the show, and I didn't get a chance to show it to you. So you get to watch along with everyone. Here is the walkthrough of the new game room. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's time to do the walkthrough of the game room. I'm kind of excited. So as I've explained, this new house has what would be considered a formal living room. So one of those rooms that like you weren't allowed to go in very much. They had like really nice couches, but maybe had the plastic on it. And that's not what we did with this room. We turned it into Eric's epic game room. So having just arrived, let's take a look at the table. Ta-da! This is the Rathskellar's Phalanx table. It's very heavy. It took us several attempts to get it up here, but this is the 8-person model. It's got dining leaves that can go on it. This can come off to reveal the whole surface. It even has this cool built-in dice tower, so you can just roll dice onto the surface. It's pretty cool. the chairs. I know we've talked about like what chairs do you put on the table. I went with these. This is from NoHo. It's called the Move chair. But what I like about it is that it flexes. So not only does it flex backwards, but also forward. So if you're leaning over the table, it gives some nice support. It's kind of cool. I like it. It's not cheap though. So I only got 6 for now, and maybe I'll save up and get more later. Anyway, the shelves. As we've talked about on the show, this is IKEA's Besta system. What I liked about these is that they're only about 2 feet wide, but you can adjust the shelves to whatever height you want. So I can make this just the height of these games, and then do another shelf that's just this height, so I'm not trying to fill in a lot of extra space with extra games and books and stuff. I've tried to cluster by size and sort of keep things together. So we've got like the kids games over here, and then you've got the escape rooms, all the unlocks and the escape tales and the choose your own adventures are here. Of course, there's all sorts of exceptions to these, but then, you know, like publisher, I'll put the AEG games together. It just sort of works out well. Party games are generally over here. You got the code names and the Taboo and Doodle Rush and stuff like that. Marvel United. I've got my Freedom and Freeze corner over here. So that's generally the shelving idea. Over here, this is the only part that's not quite done yet. This is just a standard card table. This will be, when the Kickstarter finally ships, probably early next year, a Game Toppers standalone table, probably in this 4-player configuration, so we can play smaller card games there, but that hasn't happened yet. Over here, my wife made this lovely hex shelf. We can put little objects on it. I haven't done that yet because she still wants to shellac it or something, but it's up on the wall and hanging there. She made this. It was her whole project. It's really cool. I like it. Crokinole board, of course. And then over here, we have some Scott King photography. These are from his calendar. I just sort of reframed some of those old calendar images in document frames. And then this is from his most recent Kickstarter, one of the new images from that of the game room, which I think works for a game room. And also we've got the accessory cabinet, which I talked about on the show. These are all the little drawers with the baggies in different sizes. There's a dice drawer. There's one for cups and bags, and there's a sleeve drawer and all sorts of stuff. So all those little things are all organized. This is a wine rack for little playmats, and these the Board and Game Geek silicone trays that you can put together and put bits inside. So that keeps those organized. And then last is more of the Besta shelves that are sort of, this is more free form over here. You got the little card games and stuff, and these are review games, stuff that I'm still trying to get to. And then this is the stuff that will eventually work its way onto the other side, but I'm not sure where they go yet. And this is all HeroScape that my wife made us put in bins. So that's the game room. It's time to play some more stuff. I'm excited to do so. Oh, thank you to my camera guy for ending the video like that. Goodbye. Oh, that's the last time I let my son run the camera, but I think he needed to do something. In fact, you haven't even seen it. You're watching it now, Crystal. Got right in my face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, lovely time. Anyway, that's the game room. I have not yet played anything on the table because we just got it set up. And we've been so busy with preparations for having relatives for the holidays, I have not been able to play anything yet. So that's on the horizon this weekend. I have family coming in. We're doing a full testing regime. We're all vaccinated. We're going to do this as safely as possible. But we are going to have a family game day after Christmas this year. I'm excited.
I'm excited for you. Honestly, like, I had no doubts, but seeing it all come together over the past year has been really cool, and it turned out so nice. Just the whole room has a lovely feel to it.
It's really cool, and it was a group effort. My wife did a lot of painting and color coordination and just waiting for the table to arrive, and all of it just coming together from what was a very bland, formal living room when we started. Has now become a place where we can gather and play games, and so I'm excited to give it a whirl.
Well, I'm excited for you. Do you know what game you're going to play first on the table?
That's a
Is that
good
like, are you
question.
going to break it in?
I mean, it should be something like Merchant of Venus, or it should be like a big family favorite. But it might be. I have Buried Treasure, the new one from Restoration Games, which
Ooh,
I think is going to be a very good family game day selection. So that's likely to be one of the first ones on the table.
I think that's a good one to mention. And I know we'll talk a lot about the games we saw at PAX later on in the episode, but I got to actually play a full game of Buried Treasure at PAX. And I don't typically enjoy games with take that mechanisms in them. And I loved Buried Treasure. It is like the perfect level of meanness for the length of game. And
Okay.
I just really, really liked it a lot, more so than I even thought I would, knowing that it came from Restoration, because everything that they put out I've enjoyed thus far.
Yep.
But gosh, that's a fun one. So I think that would be a good choice.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that one. But I have talked enough, Crystal. Why don't you tell us what you've been playing lately?
Well, I have gotten some games to the table recently, thanks to my friend Kathy coming over multiple times during my birthday weekend. I didn't have any big gatherings or anything like that because I was right in the midst of, like I traveled to PAX and then tomorrow I'm going to Missouri, and so I wanted to be extra cautious with all the travel going on and everything else. I've been COVID testing myself. I did an at-home test that was negative, and then I went and did a full PCR, like the one that takes 72 hours test on Saturday, also came back negative. So now I feel very comfortable going to see my young nephews in Missouri. But to that end, didn't have a big gathering for my birthday like I kind of typically would, but I still got a pretty big game to the table because I got a Kickstarter delivery here a few months ago, hadn't been able to break into it yet, and now I have finally played Dinosaur World,
Ooh,
which I was
nice.
yes, I was very excited about this one. I really like Dinosaur Island, but I hadn't played Dinosaur Island in quite a few years. And Dinosaur World had been sitting in the box. It got shipped in for longer than I would like. And my friend Kathy actually took it home and punched the game for me, and then came back the next day and helped me learn how to play it because she's just the best friend in the whole
Nice.
wide world. So anyone who has played any of the dino games from Pandasaurus will likely have some familiarity with some of the mechanisms and things, but I'm just going to describe this as if it were its own thing. I might make references to things that people who played the other games will know, but in case you've never played any of the dino games from Pandasaurus, I want to try and give a holistic view. So in this game, each player has a player board, which starts off pretty small, that you're going to add hexagonal tiles to throughout the course of the game. I've got you would not believe the number of components I have sprawled around me right now. So there's all these hexagonal tiles that contain either like specific types of buildings or dinosaur pins or little specialty buildings that do cool things. And I will admit, there's a lot of iconography on these tiles. So when you're glancing at them, some of them you might be like, holy cow, that's a lot of stuff going on right there. Sorry about the glare from my light also. I know
Those
that
are
that's making
shiny
things a little bit
tiles.
hard. Yeah, it's my light is right next to the camera, so that's why. Um, so everybody has a player board and their own tiles that they're putting out across building their dinosaur park. And then the other part of the player board, which it will be familiar to people who have played Dinosaur Island to some degree, is your DNA storage. You have both basic and advanced DNA, and there's a cube that tracks how much you have of all 6 types of DNA. There's your threat level, which is how dangerous your dinos are. Your security level, which protects those dangerous or protects your visitors from those dangerous dinos. And then new to this game is the Jeeple track. Yes, Jeeple. That's a meeple that's shaped like a Jeep, everybody. And I don't care if you hate the term, I love it. So, Jeeple
Oh,
track,
nice.
which keeps track of how far your Jeeple tours can run through your park. That's going to be important here in a minute. Similar to other dino games, but new to anybody who hasn't seen them, you've got your amber colored dice that you're going to be rolling every round, that have DNA and other cool things on them, like Road, or no, sorry, that's the, I'm combining dino games in my head right now, friends, because I also played the Roar and Write recently. You've got, and I have the Kickstarter Deluxe Edition, so components be noted that you've got unique dinos in 3 different types, and each one is screen printed in the Deluxe Edition to look like different dinos. I don't know how much you can see on camera right now, but they're nice plastic little meeples with lots of dinos on them. And what you're going to do in the game is you're going to draft cards that will allow you to take workers. So different from a lot of games where you kind of just have workers innately, each round the workers you get are determined by drafting a card that contains workers on it in different combinations. You'll always get 9 workers at least. Special powers might give you more or other things, but then the types of meeples that you'll get, the types of workers you'll get, are determined on which card you pick. And the white meeples are generic. They can go anywhere. Well, any meeple can go anywhere, but the colored meeples have special abilities that they can use at specific locations. And then after you draft your worker meeples, you go through a number of phases that utilize those meeples. You take public actions one at a time, player in clockwise order. Then you all simultaneously take private actions on your player board, and on so like there's you can like increase your security or up your Jeeple stuff. Like these are all private spots that you can put your workers.
Did you just say up with Jeeple?
Do what?
You said up with Jeeple.
Up with Jeeple?
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that.
That's what I heard anyway.
And I technically have the public boards in my lap. I'm not going to show them. They're just places where the tiles sit. I don't know. I'll show them, whatever. Too many things in my lap. So basically, you're going to build out your dino park using these workers. You're going to gain tiles, place them, make dinos on some of those tiles. A lot of the dino paddocks can hold multiple dinos. And the reason you would want to build multiple dinos and have lots of cool tiles in your park is for that Jeeple tour, which is the way that this game feels the most different from past dino games I've played from Pandasaurus, because the placement of your tiles is really important because your Jeeple can only go so far based on its level. And you want to hit up different spots because every time your Jeeple tour goes through a tile, the excitement level of that particular tile will go down, and you've got these little boredom tokens to keep track of that. They're just little tiny numbers that get placed on the tiles. I don't know what you can see in this plastic there. And the plastic case did not come with the game, in case anybody's curious. But so basically, every time you run your Jeeple tour, every round, you want to go to different locations because otherwise you're not going to get as much excitement. And excitement is one of the resources that you use in the game. And it also gives you money at the end of each round. So what's the gist of all of this? I mean, obviously you're still trying to get the most victory points at the end of the game. This one feels different from Dino Park in that like the construction of your park is important, but the Jeeple tour is where the magic really happens. And they actually have a really cool thing in the middle of the game where your welcome center gets flipped over and moved farther out into your tile space, and it becomes, what's it start as? It starts as your welcome center, and then it turns into your park entrance, but it gets moved, and that's where your Jeeple tour always starts from. So halfway through the game, your Jeeple gets to start further out, which helps alleviate that issue of like, oh, if these spots are boring now because you've already gone to them a bunch,
right.
It gives you a new starting place. These games, I don't know about anybody that's watching, but for me, the Dino Island and Dino World games are intimidating in the setup, especially. There's a lot of pieces and parts and components. The mechanisms of the game are not that complex once you have it all figured out and laid out and whatnot, but it can be intimidating to play a game like this when there's so many things going on. And so I think that there might be some people who stay away from these games for that reason. And I know for me, like I own Dino Island and never pull it off the shelf because I am weirdly scared to set it up, which is kind of silly since obviously it has good setup instructions, but I adored this one. I want to play it again real soon. And I think if you like dinosaurs at all and you like worker placement style games, like this is definitely one to check out. It's quite fun. So that's Dinosaur World from Pandasaurus Games.
Very, very cool. And kudos to the chat for coming up with a bunch of Jurassic Park quotes and turning them into meeples. There are Dino Weeples on this Dino Weeple tour, correct?
That
nice
is
job.
great.
Well, I have just a quick, I guess, an update on a review I did on this very program that was rather extensive about this game right here. This is Star Trek Flux. Which originally was released in both original series and Next Generation Flux. And at the same time, Looney Labs released a bridge expansion, like a little stack of cards that allowed you to play with both decks at once. But then they came out with DS9 Flux. And then they came out with Voyager Flux. And if you play with all four of them, quick backing up, Flux is a card game where you're trying to win by getting a combination of keeper cards in front of you that match a goal card that gets played at the table. And so you have to get that matching of the keepers and the goal that makes sense. The mechanism is usually, or it starts out as draw one, play one, but then you can play rule cards that change that. So suddenly you're drawing more cards, you're playing more cards, you have a hand limit, you have a keeper limit, you're stealing cards, you're taking cards, all of that. But if you play with all of these at once, which I warned you when I talked about all four of them at once, you're going to be playing forever because getting a combination of a Voyager goal from cards that maybe from the other three series might take forever. And that's what that bridge expansion did, was it sort of linked some goals between the two decks to make it flow better. This is all to say, I'm going to put that away. Looney Labs has released a new mini expansion. Actually, two mini expansions for Star Trek Flux. One is the Archer expansion, and the other is the Porthos expansion. They're two little 16-card packs, like a double thing of Pokemon cards, that go into your Flux games. And they say that they will allow you to play with all of them at once. I don't know why they didn't just release these as one 32-card pack. Maybe it's just easier to package them this way. Because if you're going to get one, you should get both. But anyway.
Okay.
The Porthos,
also, is that Spot next to Porthos on the cover of that one? Is that Spot?
Spot is
okay.
the next one.
Okay,
it says,
I just had to make sure. I assumed that
it
that
says
was Spot.
Also includes Spot on the. Yes. So you've got Porthos and Spot. You've got Dr. Phlox in there. You've got some Romulan ale, and then you've got Kor, who is a Klingon character from Enterprise.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of goals that match these cards with other, like Dr. Phlox with any of the other doctors from any of the series is a goal. No Cheese, which is Porthos and either Archer or the Doctor. There's Data and Spot. So stuff that links them all together. So that's that first pack. The second one, though, I think is the key. Because not only is it more of that stuff, you got Archer, you've got Daniels. There's some creepers in here, like a temporal rift. And Crystal's favorite, Faith of the Heart. I know you love that theme song.
So many people do like that song, and I just refuse.
I'm okay with it. But the Captain's Table, which is Archer and any of the other captains. But this is the key. It is the meta rule. This is something that Flux decks added to lots of different sets, but it's an overarching rule that starts on the table. So like for Math Flux, it would do something where you can add the cards together or use any math operation to get to the result you needed, which opens up the play possibilities extensively. This, the combined decks meta rule, says that you can have one goal card for each of the sets. And the sets, I think as we talked about before, they have the font is different for each set. So basically you play a goal and you look at the font at the top, and if it's different from what's out there already, they all get to stay. However, if it's the same as one, it replaces, say, the Next Gen goal or the Voyager goal. And that is the key that could possibly make this work. It's still a chaotic card game. You're still going to be hoping for, if you've got a goal that says Porthos on it, you're hoping for this one card in that deck. But having 4, maybe even 5, because it counts the mini expansions and promo cards as its own set, you can have lots of goals on the table at once, which can move things along pretty well. So this is the Archer expansion and the Porthos expansion. It's not a full new box for Enterprise, which has me wondering if there will be a small mini expansion for, say, Discovery. I don't know. I'm not saying anything, but they're available on the Looney Labs website, and I think they're still giving out like a holiday gift on their website if you go there and get stuff. I'm not allowed to tell you what it is, but it's another Flux-related bonus. Anyway,
Okay.
more Star Trek is never a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they most definitely should continue releasing packs based on the new shows. Like, I guess you probably don't need a Picard pack. There are new characters that they could throw in. But like Lower Decks and Discovery, definitely. I mean, come on, Lower Decks, the goals that you could create with the Lower Decks characters would be really fun.
Speaking of which, did you see the pictures that our friend Jeff Engelstein shared of the new Lower Decks Super Skill pinball table?
Oh, yeah.
It's got like a gravity. So let's back up. There is a set of Super Skill pinball that is Star Trek themed that Jeff Engelstein has designed, that WizKids announced. That's fully themed. It's got a Lower Decks table and I think a Tribbles table. There's a third one. But anyway, the Lower Decks one has a gravity anomaly which flips the table upside down. It's got flippers on the bottom and the top, so it will flip the table. And oh boy. Anyway,
I'm not sure how long I've known about this. I've known about this for way longer than the most people who just saw the announcement have, because I actually helped Jeff with parts of the design. Nice. Not like the design, but like the artwork, and I was his Star Trek consultant, kind of. Obviously, he's talking with Paramount and all the right people too, but like when he had to make little decisions about certain things, I was very honored that he reached out to me and asked. And I've known I couldn't say anything, and I wanted to, and I keep secrets when they're important, I do.
Yep.
But gosh, I'm so excited. I'll say the one thing Jeff told me that I don't know if he'll ever say publicly, but I think is fine to say completely here, is that the name of the table with Tribbles on it is called The Trouble with Tribbles, the same as the episode that it's based on. He fought to try and get it named The Table with Tribbles, and Paramount wouldn't let him. And I was heartbroken. I was like, it has to be The Table with Tribbles. And apparently Paramount said no. So it's just The Trouble with Tribbles table. But
sure.
What a missed opportunity, right?
Yes, I mean, you could always call it The Table with Tribbles and just pretend that you didn't know. Oh,
absolutely.
The Table with Tribbles. That one.
Any continuity. You know what? No, like, for the record, like, when I was stressed when he would ask me, like, okay, we have a Borg-themed table, like, what... and at one point they were considering actually naming the ships that were in the artwork, like having names of the ships. And then he was like, what are these, types of ships, and which ships would be the prominent ones? And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get something wrong. I was very stressed, but they ended up scrapping some of the detail in some of the things, I think. So
sure.
That's probably enough about Star Trek Super Skill Pinball.
Yeah, we've reached our quota, I would imagine.
Yep. People, if they want to hear about more our Star Trek thoughts, they can ask us at the end of the episode during the Q&A.
Sure.
But for now, Eric, I would love to play a game with you in the chat. What do you say?
I would love to play a game with you in the chat, yes.
Okay, well, here's the thing. We have our old favorite, Just One, that we play occasionally here on the show. And I haven't actually been the host for Just One in a hot minute. And so, Eric... Are you ready for some Just One?
I am ready. Let me hide chat and all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
I might just
hide all the things.
Let's see.
So for those of you in chat who are not sure how Just One works or how it works here specifically, I am going to show a word to the camera silently. I will also either type it in the chat or somebody else in the chat will type it in. And then you all are going to come up with a series of one-word clues that you think will help Eric guess the word that I've shown you.
I've got my blindfold.
Oh, that's your blindfold. Nice.
Because I can't hide. There's too many
I
screens.
will. Yeah, I will take. I'm gonna do the. I think I did the increased number last time and liked it, so I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna take the first 7 words that show up. They have to be in all capital letters. If they are not in all capital letters, I will skip past them. Also, note that YouTube chat shows things in slightly different orders to different people. So I will be going with the first 7 that I see, but it may not match the first 7 that you see on your screen. I promise you, I'm not skipping people's answers just for fun. It's whatever the first 7 are what I'm going to do. If any of the answers that you all suggest match, Eric won't get to hear those. I will only tell him the ones that don't match. So you're trying to come up with a unique word. And that's going to be it. So I think if you all haven't played before, you'll pick it up pretty quick. Most of the people in the chat likely know exactly what we're doing. So Eric, I'm going to go ahead and show the first word to the chat. So don that blindfold.
I'm hidden. Huh?
All right. So word number 1, chat, is this word right here. Hopefully you can see it. I cannot tell because I can't see myself right now, but I'm going to pull it down. I bet. Oh, it looked pretty good from what I could see there. And then I will put it in the chat as well. Oh, perfect. Gator Dave, thank you. Okay, we got words coming in, so.
Can I take the blindfold off yet?
Yep, you're good, you're good, you're good. Just don't look at the chat and you'll be fine.
The chat is hidden. It's harder to hide you because you show
Yeah,
up.
I know.
I'm
all over the place.
The video software actually complains if I hide you because then it's like, no, you need to see Crystal now, and it pops up extra windows to anyway.
All right. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think they're all unique. Yeah, you're getting a full 7 words, Eric. So if you don't get this, then that's just going to be sad for you.
Thank you. Oh, good. With the kind of day I've had, I don't know. I have no trust in my ability to do this.
Based on these words, I have faith. So your words are soot, brick, hearth, stack, smoke, sweep, and poker.
Well, I've got faith of the hearth that the answer is chimney.
It is chimney. Good job, Eric. Excellent job to you and the chat, especially considering 7 unique words.
Those were very good clues. Those are excellent. Well done.
Wonderful clues, everybody. All right, so we are going to move on to word number 2. Let's see, word number 2. And I'm going to show it to the camera right now. So here is the word, everybody. I'm showing it to the camera. And now I pulled it away. And I put it in the chat. So, Eric, you're good, I think, unless there's a delay. Oh, there's no delay on your end. It's just me watching the YouTube stream. Yes. That's the delayed part.
Yes.
Okay. So, we got words coming in.
Chat is on the ball. I can hear the clicks of
7. All right. We've got 7 words for you, Eric. Let's see. Do any of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do have 1 pair. So you're still gonna get 5 words there. Good. That's pretty good. Yeah. So the words that you get are bells, wolves, runners, horse, and jingle. Bells, wolves, runners, horse, and jingle. This one's not quite as easy, I would say.
Horse? I mean, it sounds like these are all teams of things pulling on things. But sleigh doesn't... Wolves for sleigh? Wolves, bells. Oh, I know I'm dancing around it because it's like a team of horses, a pack of... No, bells wouldn't work for pack. Wolves, There was a lot of plurals in there in those clues, which
Do you want
tells
me
me
to
that.
repeat the
Yeah,
words
if you
again?
could just give me one more time.
Absolutely. So your words are bells, wolves, runners, horse, and jingle.
Jingle. So we got both jingle and bells, and we got. So okay, wolves though. Horses, dogs. How about sleigh?
It was, in fact, sleigh, Eric. Good
Wow.
job. I honestly didn't think you would get that, and I don't know how wolves are related to a sleigh,
I
but I'm
I don't
sure they are.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna hide.
Okay,
I don't
here
know.
comes the next word, everybody. Let me get the chat. No, 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 no. Word number 3. Here I am showing it to the camera. Do. Word number 3 is coming down in 3, 2, 1. All right, it is no longer being shown to the camera.
Fogged up my glasses. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just took a stab at that one.
Okay, well, your stab was right in the right direction.
Maybe
So,
maybe wolves hunt and slay their prey, and
well,
they
that
were
would
going
be
for the
a different.
homonym
Yeah,
or
maybe. I think.
homophone.
Yeah, because you can't give the homophone as a clue, but you could give a word related to the homophone as a clue. Technically, it just you have
I
to
don't
do a
know.
little bit of mental dancing. But all right, we've got words for your third one now. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No matches in the first 7 that
Okay.
showed up. So here are your 7 words: toes, vacuum, foil, decoration, glistening, shimmery, and tree. I'm going to repeat those for you because your face
I'm gonna,
looks like
I'm gonna repeat
you.
that for you, cause your face.
Here we go a second time. Toes, vacuum, foil, decoration, glistening, shimmery, and tree.
Oh my. So, toes makes me think it's twinkle, but all of the other clues make me think it's tinsel. And I think maybe the toes clue misread it. So I'm going to say tinsel is the answer.
Pencil is correct. And yeah, I guess in the rush to be first, Daniel was just like, it might say twinkle, I don't know, I'll type in toes.
Because I've never heard of tinsel toes, but
I have not
maybe
either, but
everyone
maybe
has
maybe
different
we'll make them a
holiday
thing.
traditions. Maybe people like to string the tinsel on their feet. I don't know. I won't judge.
You know what? It's entirely
I'm
possible.
not
Who
going to judge.
knows?
The important thing is that we got it right. Thank you, chat. Well done.
Yep, chat did an awesome job, as did you, Eric. All right, so let's move on to word number 4, which I'm showing to the camera now. Showing it to the camera so chat can see the word. And now I'm taking it away. I don't know why I'm singing, but it's not.
It makes it interesting. Do you remember what the words were that got removed on the second clue? The second word?
Ooh, I will scroll up for you and I will tell you that the word that got removed from the second clue was ride.
Yep.
Sleigh
Yep.
ride.
Sleigh ride.
Yeah.
Classic.
2 rides.
Classic Leroy
What's interesting
Anderson
is
song.
they were exactly the first word and the 7th word. So the match squeaked in just in the nick of time.
Unfortunately.
I know, right? Okay, let's see here. Oh, we've got some matches.
Oh
Friends.
no. Okay.
Let's see here. We've got 1,
You
2,
gotta up the
3, 4,
difficulty a
5,
little bit.
6, 7. Okay, so thankfully, it's 3 words that are all the same
Okay.
that have gotten removed. So you're still getting 4 words.
All right.
Number 8 would have matched another one of the words, so it's a good thing that one got cut off, I guess.
Yep.
So your 4 words are, technically that, is that allowed?
I don't know.
Okay, so I'll just ask you, Eric, in just one, are rhymes allowed generally? If they also relate to the meaning of the word. So I think normally a rhyme for the sake of a rhyme is not allowed per the rules. But
I didn't know they weren't. I think the danger is more that you can go in the wrong direction with it.
yeah. I'm going to give you 3 words just in case. We'll see how that goes, and then I will add in.
And then if I don't get it out of the 3, okay.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, because I've now told you that it rhymes, and so now if I give you that word, I've ruined it. Here we go. Your words are leaves, spiky, and berries. Leaves, spiky, and berries.
Oh, okay. There's a couple directions I could go with this. I want to say it's holly. It could be mistletoe, but I will say holly.
Well, you would be correct, and I don't even have to give you the word jolly then.
Yes. Yeah, that's a tough one. Well, I can understand using it though, because have a holly jolly Christmas is sort of the
it
line.
relates to the meaning.
Yeah.
So I think it technically is fine, but I also it felt almost too easy, if that makes sense.
I
And
think
you're
it would
good
have been
at
allowed.
this, so
I think it would have been allowed, but yeah.
I think it probably would have been allowed as well, but you didn't need it, and so that's the point. You're so good.
Chat and I are in sync this evening. That's what's going on. I'm not clear yet.
Right.
Hang on. Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm writing it down anyway, so you're fine.
The fuzz is up my nose.
This one.
Hurry.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'm holding it up to the camera. I'm holding it up. I'm holding it up. I'm holding it up. I'm holding it up. Making sure everybody gets a chance to see it. And now I'm pulling it away. And I'll type it in the chat.
Need to aim better next time. Okay. Yeah, we're chat is giving some good clues. It's almost like they've done this before. We should enter the tournament. Me and chat.
Okie dokie. I don't know if that was intended to be a clue, but it's gibberish to me, so I'm gonna skip it.
Florp.
If it was intended to be a word, I don't know what word it was supposed to be. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 of those 7 words are identical.
Oh,
so those are all getting removed.
Okay.
Yep. So you have 3 words, Eric, but I have faith in you. I think I have faith of the heart.
Faith of the heart.
I think you can do this. So your 3 words are, oh gosh, it scrolled down. Here we go. Wood, coins, and spin.
Ooh, dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. I made thee out of clay.
And clay was the word that got removed 4 times.
Yes.
So, and it's funny because the person who typed wood went, oops, got the song wrong, but apparently it was enough to get you there.
Dreidel, 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 I made you out of wood. I don't know. Maybe that's the second verse. Maybe I just don't know the second verse.
Right. Well, and I have seen more wooden tops in my day than clay tops.
I have seen
dreidels.
wooden dreidels, so
yeah, for sure.
Entirely. Maybe the entire song is about different varieties of dreidels, and only the first verse has really, become popular. I don't know.
I think that seems completely reasonable. All right, let's see.
At all. I'm putting my blindfold back on.
Okay, I'm writing the next word on my little marker board.
How many words do we have, by the way? Are we going for a
I prepared, technically I have 2 more. I'll say this is the last one. We'll do this one as the last one.
So this is the perfect score. We're going for a perfect game here.
Yeah, we're going for the clean sweep here.
Okay.
Chat, I'm showing you the word right now. Here's the next word. Do. Next word is visible, and I'm taking it away in 3, 2, 1. It's gone. Well, we're gonna end on an easy one, Eric.
Oh, all right.
I if I have no doubt that you will be able to get this based on what I'm seeing in the chat. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are not in all caps, so I skip them.
Ooh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No matches. This, Eric, will be your crowning achievement for the end of 2021. You're gonna get a clean sweep
Now, watch
on
me
just
mess
one.
up. I mean, this
No,
is...
no.
Okay.
You will not.
Okay.
Here it comes. Your words are sweet, spelled Suite, sweet,
Okay.
ballet, Tchaikovsky, crack, crush, musical, and dance.
Crack?
Crack.
That isn't part of Nutcracker?
Oh, technically it is. I guess I should have eliminated
That's
that
fine.
one.
I
But
had it already. It's Nutcracker.
Yeah, I literally forgot that it was in the word.
You had me second guessing myself for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute.
No,
Sugar
you're
plum.
correct. Technically, that clue should have not been eligible, but
Rat
regardless,
King.
there's no asterisk here because you very easily would have gotten it with or without that clue.
Tetris music.
So that's a perfect game of just one for you in the chat.
Woo! We did it.
Yeah.
Was...
So now let's talk about some PAX, friend.
We absolutely need to talk about some PAX. Last time we got to chat, we were anticipating the show in Philadelphia, and we did in fact get to see each other. We got to hang out on a number of occasions. I think we saw each other like once a day over the course of the let's see, it was 3.5 days because we got to see each other at a pre-event Thursday night. Just barely we managed to get in after New Jersey traffic in time to see you at this event that Stephen Bonacore and Rachel Blasky threw, sort of a mixer. So we got to see each other for the first time since Dice Tower West of 2020.
2020,
which was a blast. And then we got to basically check in a few times over the course of the weekend. And
which was honestly quite lovely.
Yes. In fact, I could home in on you on a couple of occasions because I heard you from across the hall. I was wandering through the first look area. This is an area where they do newer games like Essen releases, and I was just sort of looking for a game to play. I didn't have an agenda, and I heard Crystal from across the room, and I'm like, I gotta see what she's up to, and you taught me a very lovely game.
I don't even remember which one I taught you. Which one did I teach you?
That was, you were playing the flower gardening game.
Oh yeah, Flower Buy.
Yes.
A Japanese game that came over from Tokyo Game Market with little cards with holes in them, and so you make flowers with as many different colors as possible, and you can see through the holes on some of the cards. So it was a cute little game with a tiny, tiny box,
yes.
as is common for Japanese games.
Yes, another one with a very tiny, tiny box that you also taught me, which ended up being my favorite game of the show, is a little card game called Scout that is so much fun. It's a ladder climbing game, but instead of playing individual tricks like most ladder climbing games, it's one big trick. And so somebody will play a combination of cards out to the table, and if the next player can't beat it with the cards they have in their hand, they will scout or remove cards from either end of that string of cards that are on the table, thereby weakening what's on the table and gaining something into their hand and making their own hand stronger. That earns points for the person who played the original combination, but the hand continues. And so you just continue playing on this same set of cards, which grows, shrinks, gets replaced, and then you're making that one stronger and weaker, and just working your way through until someone runs out of cards. It's such a neat twist on a concept that's been done a lot, but this feels fresh and different. The version we played was from a Korean publisher, but Oink Games has published it. I went to their website today to try and track down a copy. They're sold out already of their initial print run, so I will have to wait a little while until I can grab it, but I plan to as soon as I have the opportunity.
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat. I definitely need a copy. And what's interesting is you didn't actually mention one or, well, two of the other cool twists about this game, in that, unlike most trick taking or ladder climbing games, you are not allowed to move the cards in your own hand. You're not
That's old
allowed to
hat.
reorder them. And the cards are double-sided,
Yep.
meaning that depending on which way you have the cards up or down, the number on the card is different. And so when you first get dealt your hand, you actually get to choose which orientation.
Yeah,
You still
you
have to
flip
keep
the whole
everything in
hand
order,
over.
but you can flip it upside down if, in fact, the numbers on the opposite side are better for you. And what's neat is then when you do pick up a card because you can't play, you get to choose which number on the card goes into your hand, and you can place it wherever you want. So when you have a bad combination of cards in your hand, picking things up, you can actually pick things up just for the sake of making your hand better, even if you could theoretically play. It's fascinating and so much fun.
Yeah.
I anticipate this being one of my favorite games of this style, with repeated plays, and I also can't wait to get a copy.
Yes, yes, yes. So what were some of your highlights, Crystal?
Well, I mean, aside from the larger chunk of time that you and I spent together, which we can talk about here in a second,
Oh, yes, yes.
some other highlights for me at the con, honestly, like the biggest thing for me was just seeing a whole bunch of people that I hadn't seen in a really long time. I knew that I was missing friend time and board game friend time and cons in general. Like I knew all of that, but like I don't think I had completely internalized how much I missed those things until I had them around me again.
Yeah.
And I just like, my heart was just bursting with love the whole weekend. I got to meet a lot of the newer board game content creators that have come up on Instagram and TikTok and other platforms that I've been interacting with, and even like I've been on streaming with some of them throughout the pandemic, but I'd never gotten to meet a bunch of them in person. And so getting to meet those people in person was also really, really special for me. And that was the biggest thing for me, was the people. And I knew that that would be the case.
Yes,
As far
indeed.
as games that I got to see, I know there's at least one that you and I both got to see separately, and that is Jerry Hawthorne's new game, Familiar Tales, that's coming out from Plaid Hat Games, which has basically married Jerry's storybook game style with the app companionship that Plaid Hat introduced with Forgotten Waters. And like, there's voice narration, it's the branching stories, branching paths.
Yeah.
The story is adorable as all heck. I'm so stoked to get the final copy of that game.
Yes, yes. My son is very stoked to play the Fox character. There's this adorable Fox familiar, and he's already claimed it. Just looking at preview images, he's like, "That will be mine. No one else can play that Fox." That's fine. I'm excited to play it with him. He's going to have a blast. He and his brother have grown up with all of Jerry's games, and so I'm very excited to introduce this one to them. This is a deck builder. I like the way that if you're playing with fewer than 4 players, the characters combine. So if I'm playing 2 characters, I actually combine those 2 characters' decks to become like a combo for the 2 of them. And so as a result, you could play as a solo game with all of the cards mixed together and take actions with each other. And that just seems really, really cool. I'm excited for Familiar Tales. And I hope they do an expansion so I can audition for one of the expansion characters, because that sounds fun.
Absolutely. Your voice would be a welcome addition to the app. So what other games did you really enjoy at the con, or other things other than games?
Well, like you said, I think the seeing of people was a big deal. I got to see a number of the new folks that I haven't had a chance to meet in person, but there were so many people that I didn't get to actually interact with. Like, I saw a lot of people sort of in passing. I never got to introduce myself. The team from Our Family Plays Games, Mick and Starla and Grant, were there, and one of my goals was to get to meet them in person. We've been on like Zoom chats before, but I never got to meet them. I never saw them anywhere. And I know that there were tons of people like that I wanted to say hi to, and I know I missed, and you keep your eyes open and you just sort of travel in different circles and you just never manage to connect. So I regret not getting to meet some of those people and getting to actually say hi in person, which is a bit of a bummer after such a joyous experience.
Absolutely. It was funny. I didn't see them the first couple days of the con. And so then I was like, or maybe it was like the first day and a half. And I was like, I haven't gotten to see you all yet. I want to see you. I tweeted at them. And then the charity board gamer, Chris, hosted a content creator meetup on Saturday night. And it was so many content creators showed up to this thing. It was just mind blowing to see all of the wonderful people making board game content. And I was seated at a table in a very busy room, like not easy to get out from, basically, based on the number of chairs and people. And Mick and Starla came in, and I leapt up from the table, screeched in pure Crystal style, and Mick, fully buying into the bit, started like running around, like trying to fake escape from me because he knew what was coming. So I like dashed around the table and went and hugged all of them, and it was a really funny moment. And I was so glad that like he definitely like picked up on the vibe and was there for it, or maybe he really just was trying to escape from me. Who knows?
Yes.
No, they were absolutely lovely to meet in person. They were great, and so was everybody else that I got to meet.
That's awesome. Amidst all of the joy, so there was a question from Kabuki. Did you manage to avoid getting con crud? Yes, absolutely. I was not at all sick, partially because PAX's policy was very strict on vaccinations and masking throughout the entire event. So every time Crystal and I saw each other, it was with this thing in front of our face, which was fine. But it was an additional stress. I mean, it was good that everybody was taking situations seriously, and I felt safe throughout the whole thing. But talking through a mask in a convention circumstance was something I was not used to doing. And I always have this rule, like, do not push trying to talk and be heard over a loud convention space. And that's one of my rules of thumb when I'm, trying not to lose my voice over the course of a weekend. But having to talk through a mask was an additional amount of push I had to do just to be heard and understood. And so I felt more exhausted than normal at the end of each day. And I wasn't quite expecting that. I knew that I would be excited to see people, but I was a little more worn down by the end of it. Maybe that's just I'm 2 years older, or it is that extra layer of stuff that we had to be doing and being careful of and cognizant of. That was not necessarily a downside, but just something I wasn't quite ready for in going into the weekend.
Yeah, no, agreed. I had similar issues, like both hearing and being heard, especially in noisier spaces. But I really appreciated the fact that outside of the con, like in general life, I have run into people who, to make themselves heard, will grab their mask and pull it away from their face. And I'm like, you're defeating the purpose. Don't do that. Idea. But at the con, nobody was doing that. Everybody was being incredibly cautious. People, as soon as, if a mask started to slip, they would pull it up. PAX had mask enforcers specifically to, like, with a box of paper masks, walking around just making sure that everybody was wearing their masks properly. Yep. And from what I could tell, those people didn't have to do a whole ton of active work because most of the attendees, or at least all the ones I saw, were doing a great job. And I've been scouring Twitter ever since the con to see if, there were any cases of COVID. I found one tweet from one person who said they were at PAX and later tested positive, but they weren't sure they got it at PAX. And I have found no other tweets from anybody else. And my PCR test came back negative on Saturday, which was a full 6 days after I got back. So I waited the full incubation period and I was good. So yeah, I think PAX has kind of set the gold standard as far as con safety is concerned, at least in my mind. Yep. And I will be looking at other cons to do similar things to keep their attendees safe going forward. And I'm really happy that Gen Con sent out information to some of their people saying that for 2022, vaccinations and masks both required.
Yep.
And I applaud them for that. I think that that's a really, really wonderful thing for them to announce. And I think other cons should take a lesson from that.
Indeed. So we should certainly get to the time, the most time we got to spend together. After we had a lovely lunch, met up and hung out for lunch, and we're like, well, what are we going to play? We got to play something. And you said, well, Flip Flory is running his Tournament of Cheese Ampions in the classic cardboard room. And I said, okay, let's go check that out. And we didn't actually participate in that event. But the classic cardboard room is this library of older games. I mean, I saw Alhambra in this room, so not that old, although Alhambra is like 2000. It's not as old as I'm thinking, like 2004 or something. But anyway, a lot of older games from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. These older games that they'll run tournaments for, they'll do events, or they just have this library. You can grab it off the shelf and try it out. And they had just finished a tournament of 13 Dead End Drive. And you and I looked at it, and I'm like, I've never played this game. And I don't think you had either.
Yep, I was like, I've also never played this game.
And so we sat down and made sure that we could play on the copies that they had set up, and the guy's like, yeah, sure, go for it. And so we did a run of 13 Dead End Drive, which is where the characters from the intro on tonight's show came from. If you've never seen the board for 13 Dead End Drive, it's this mansion with plastic toy components, because the object of the game is to bump off the characters who are not you that are vying for this fortune. And there's this sort of timer, the portraits on the mantelpiece, and your object is to get your hidden character out the door when their portrait is showing. And the portraits are cycling through constantly, so you're trying to knock off the other characters and get close enough to the door so that when your portrait comes up, you can get out. But there's a statue that falls, there's a chandelier that can crush someone, there's a staircase that somebody can get thrown off of, and this is all, the fireplace, there's a fireplace that
you get thrown into the fireplace.
So you got the little standee, and you put them on like basically an X or a space, and then you hit a lever, and this horrible thing happens to them, including getting thrown into the fire. It is silly and morbid. It is a weird game, but we had a good time.
We did, and as far as like hidden identity style games, like I think 2 players is not the ideal player count for this game, although it did work because they had us pull out some of the characters that were assigned to neither of us. And so at certain points, and we also had certain characters that were assigned to us that we didn't know who they were, so they were secret even to the person who held them, so yes. We could theoretically off our own characters at one point.
And I think we certainly did that a few times.
I think we definitely did. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'd say the newer editions of that game, if you stumble across one, and whether you have kids or not, like if you're looking for a roll and move-esque game that is approachable for kids, but also has some enjoyment for adults as well, it's not a bad one at all.
And we also played a game with Jeff Engelstein, who swung by in that room, and he's like, well, I'd love to play a game with you too. And we said, all right, what are we going to play? And pulled this game off the shelf.
It took us a while to choose. I don't know for you, but like Jeff and I are friends at this point, but he's still Jeff Engelstein. So like I was scouring the games trying to find the right game to play with Jeff. You want to
get an appropriate game to play with Jeff. I sort of wanted to get one that had some history to it, that he could impart his wisdom upon us. I don't know if we gained any wisdom from playing this game, but we played the Inventors, which is from, I think, 1974. It's a game about acquiring inventions and trying to make that those investments pay off. You sort of patent your inventions and stuff, and it's a roll and move. You're moving around the board and you're earning money and buying these properties, inventions. But the cool part is it has the wackiest dice tower you will ever see. It has a bell. You throw the dice in and you hit a plunger. and the dice spill out and hit a bell on the way down, and there you go, you get your die roll. But then you've got your inventions, and when you land on certain spaces, you can gain a patent on that invention, which involves inserting the card into this dice tower and pulling it out, and when it comes out, it's got a metal clip on it that has a number that multiplies your investment and gives you more payout. But it's supposed to work like ching ching, and you pull it out and it's got a metal clip. I could not get this thing to work, no matter how many times I patented inventions. I would put it in, and Jeff's like, do it forcefully. I go, and then I'd pull it out, and the whole thing would come out with no clip. And I'd try it again, and anyway. It's the wackiest component I think I've ever encountered in a game. It didn't make the game that much better, but it made it a lot more fun.
Yeah. I mean, the game itself was definitely not, it was roll and move style Monopoly, moving around a board. It did have 2 different tracks, and you could switch from one to the other at certain points of the game, but mechanically it was very simple and very luck dependent.
Oh yeah.
As we found out as I continued to rake in money and just like dominate, and I was not doing anything strategic to make that happen. But it was quite fun to trounce Jeff Engelstein in a game.
That is true. If that's what it takes to beat Jeff at a game, then I'll take it.
Absolutely. And really, like, the fact that that dice tower served a purpose other than just rolling dice, I thought was really neat. And I wonder if something similar to that could be incorporated. You know, companies are often looking for fun, gimmicky things to add into games. And I wonder if a dice tower that does something else could be used in a modern game somehow.
I do sort of wonder, as a thought experiment, how you would do that with more modern, reliable mechanisms. And, you know, inserting a card into something, it would probably end up as a digital component. But I kind of liked the mechanics of sticking something in and having something else attached to it in that way. It was pretty cool, really cool.
Absolutely. Well, we could probably talk for a very long time about PAX. Like, I could talk about the HABA event where I got to play a bunch of German kids games that are never coming to America. And some of those games are really fun, and also I realize why they're not coming to America, because they're also crazy dangerous for small children.
Yeah, the kayak, the ice fishing game that has a bunch of ball bearings and magnets. Yeah, that's probably
very tiny ball bearings.
Very tiny.
A child would instantly swallow, and it has a giant stick that you poke things with as well.
You know, someday you're going to come to my house. I've got a copy. In fact, you could have seen it in the video. Kayak is on the shelf, but we have a ream of A4 paper somewhere in this house specifically for that purpose, so that we can continue to play the game, because it's a German game, and in Germany they use A4 and not 8.5 by 11.
Yep. I also got to see some upcoming titles. Thunder Road Vendetta from Restoration Games is a ton of fun. Jurassic World: The Legacy of Isla Nublar that's coming from Funko also looks really cool.
Yep.
Sagrada Legacy from Floodgate actually looks really neat. You're going to be coloring in stained glass windows of completely different shapes than you're used to in normal Sagrada. Let's see, what else? I got to play some cool stuff in the Unpub room, including Aaron Wilson's follow-up to Sovereign Skies, Sovereign Suns. Just so much good stuff, Eric. Any other final thoughts from you about PAX?
Oh boy, I picked up a bunch more Button Shy games, including Rove, which you had recommended here on the show. I got Food Chain Island, which is a Scott Alms solo game. I got Agropolis, because I knew that I would enjoy that one. What was the fourth one? Oh, I took a stab at Chip Beauvais' Universal Rule, which is a 4X game using space planets and fleets and stuff. It's complex, but I didn't get a chance to play it because it needed at least 3 players. So that one I'm looking forward to playing. But then, after spending money there at the booth, you show me 2 more Button Shy games that I didn't look at, and now I need to check out. Why I Otter? No.
Why I Otter.
Why I Otter and
an Otter one.
Which I need
an Otter one.
But maybe that will be the next PAX. I will go track down.
Yeah. Both of those games are 2-player trick-taking games in 18 cards that are super fun. Also by Aaron Wilson. who I just mentioned, and I only was able to pick up Why I Otter because they were sold out of an otter one when I went and asked them about it, and they didn't even notice my pun.
You were
Eric.
so excited about giving the
I
pun.
the hall was too noisy, and they were just trying to hear what game I was talking about. But I was like, I've had it all. It was one of those moments, when you like are so excited about a joke and then it falls completely flat. It was that moment because I walked up to the Button Shy booth and I said, I have a lot of your all's games, but I really need an otter one. And they just immediately walked away to go look for it, and I was just like, aw. But I did end up selling a bunch of Button Shy games while I was standing by their booth, like, because people were walking up and looking at the displays, and I was like, let me tell you. And so I literally was like describing Sprawlopolis and Tussie Mussy and Circle of Wagons, and Jason was in the booth, and I jokingly grabbed some cash and was like, what do I owe you? It's like nothing. Honestly, he was joking, but it was. Yes. I love Button Shy games, and I was perfectly happy to try and sell some for them.
Excellent. So it was a great trip. I'm hoping that this is the model for 2022 conventions, and I hope that we can continue to be safe and still have fun and have a great time. I'm looking forward to more in the year ahead.
Absolutely. We are well past our theoretical normal stop time, but I'll say, we'll give you all a couple minutes if you have any questions for us, either about PAX or anything else. Eric Yurko was also selling Button Shy games.
Yes.
Unofficially.
Yep.
Once you start playing Button Shy games, you just love them, and they're so like. The value you get out of those tiny games is just, it's hard to not talk about because they're so fun.
Plus, once you've made room for one of them, you can fit another 4 in that space. They're tiny. So,
all right. So David asks, best thing you ate. That's a good question.
I was delighted to see that the crepe store in the marketplace across the street was still open. That is my favorite place for breakfast when I'm in Philly for PAX, and so I made sure to get my breakfast crepes and see the same crew working there. I was delighted to see that they are still around and still making crepes. So that's my highlight.
I had a really good corn dog in Reading Terminal Market. Okay. And I will admit, I love corn dogs. I really do. And they had some fancy ones over there, and I had a really good one. I also had some snickerdoodles made by an Amish bakery, which were also super delightful. And it was funny because when I walked up, we had walked in while they had had the snickerdoodles out on the counter. They had just come out of the oven. And so later we walked by and I was like, oh, I wanted to grab some snickerdoodles. And so I went up to the counter and I was like, oh, you guys were making snickerdoodles earlier right here on the counter. Where are those? And then I saw the packaged snickerdoodles kind of below me. And I was like, oh, here they are. And the guy was like, no, wait, those are from yesterday. Let me get you the ones that we were literally just making. And so he packaged up the ones that they had just baked. Oh, it was so kind of them. And those were some good cookies.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Jeremiah asks, will the absence of the Dice Tower podcast cause any changes to Dice Tower tonight? No. We have no plans to change anything that Crystal and I are doing. We love the show, and I love doing it, and I don't want to leave this show. So yes, no changes. And I should be doing some more video stuff in 2022. There should be a new chat show on the horizon, and I know I keep saying this, but I do intend to do more video reviews. I'm considering packaging like a trio of short reviews into one episode, maybe like 3 minutes or under, 3 reviews in 3 minutes or less, something like that. But that's still in the works. It is coming, so you'll get to see some more video stuff. But as far as Dice Tower tonight, no plans to change that. And yes, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Tom and I announced that the podcast will be ending later this year or next year. It's sad after 750 episodes, but I'm hoping that we can continue to do some stuff, that Mandy and Suzanne can still find a great place to do their thing, and that we can continue to work together in some regard in the near future. So it's a little scary, but still cool and exciting for upcoming stuff.
Yep. Oh my gosh, Amanda, no, your cookies are the best, hands down. Amanda Panda bakes cookies and brings them to cons, and if you all have not had an Amanda Panda cookie, I will definitively say, like, Amanda brought me extra cookies, and I literally, like, I had to eat one of the packages she gave me the night she gave them to me immediately because I love her cookies. But then I saved some and brought them home with me. And like the day after the con, when I was feeling really, really sad because I was no longer around all my friends anymore, I ate Amanda's cookies and I may have cried a little bit, which, like, both happy and sad stuff. But needless to say, it was a nice little souvenir to bring home and kind of extend my con just a bit.
I didn't get any cookies from Amanda, but it was wonderful to see her as well. That's all I need. I don't need any cookies. I just wanted to see all these wonderful
Well, Amanda and you, I believe, will both be at Dice Tower West, and I bet you might be able to get some cookies.
Maybe. That would be fun. I've already splurged on my snickerdoodles that Stephanie has made this holiday season. It's like, it's worth taking the hit or taking an extra walk around the block for me. So,
yep. All right, friends, we are probably about due to end the show. I hope, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, that you have a really wonderful Christmas. For those of you who don't, I hope you have a really wonderful end of your December and a happy new year, or whatever holidays you do celebrate around this time of year. I believe we're back on our regular schedule at this point.
We should be. That is the plan.
Okay.
We should be back in 2 weeks and then plug
yes.
it away.
Yes, so we will be back in 2 weeks on January 5th. This whole year just whooshed by. And that'll be the next time you'll see both of us. I don't want to end the show. It's nice to see you again, and it's nice to hang out with the chat, and I'm just,
chat, I hope that whatever you're doing over the next couple of weeks for New Year's plans, or if you're celebrating Christmas, or if you've already done some holiday celebrations, I hope you travel safely. I hope you get hugs from everyone around you, and I hope you have a pleasant beginning to 2022.
Lovely sentiments. Well said, Eric. Thank you to those of you who have also already clicked the thumbs up button below the video. We really appreciate you helping us out with the YouTube algorithms, the ever-changing algorithms that no one completely understands.
It's a mystery.
We hope you'll join us both again in 2 weeks on January 5th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Until then, I am Crystal Dax.
I am Eric Summerer.
And you've been watching the holiday edition of Dice Tower Tonight.
Thank you for watching. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. Crystal and I will see you in 2 weeks for our first show of 2022. Our show is supported by viewers like you. Thank you. The Dice Tower Tonight is produced by Crystal and me, with assistance from Tom Vassell, Mike DeLisio, Roy Canada, Chris Yee, and Rob Searing. The repeated refusals of serving dishes by Penn Jillette's partner, brought to you by Teller's Tray Shuns. Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by GameNerds.com. Give us your feedback on the Dice Tower Guild at Board Game Geek on Facebook or Twitter, or by emailing us at crystal@dicetower.com or eric@dicetower.com. You can hear more from Crystal on the Board Game Blitz podcast, and I can be found giving Tom a hard time on the Dice Tower. Find those shows and more at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all of us at the Dice Tower, have fun gaming.
Good
Happy
night,
holidays,
everybody.
Happy New Year.